This is African American History is American History. Welcome. I'm your host, Harlan Kearsley. This program's goal is to foster understanding, promote discussion, and expand knowledge through stories of historical events, bios of unsung heroes, as well as timely and relevant news stories which, hopefully, will paint a vivid picture of the effects of segregation, discrimination, and bigotry on the lives of both blacks and whites. Comparisons will be made between the many racially fractured periods of American history and what's going on right now. This American track and field star athlete from Albany, Georgia, became the first black woman from any country to win an Olympic gold medal. Alice Coachman set a record with her high jump of 5 feet 6 1/8 inches at the 1948 Olympic Games in London. She dominated her sport and would likely have won more medals if the 1940 and 1944 Olympics had not been canceled due to World War II. Back when there were very few high-profile black athletes beyond Jackie Robinson and Joe Louis, Alice Coachman became a trailblazer. She led the way for female African-American Olympic track stars like Wilma Rudolph, Evelyn Ashford, Florence Griffith Joyner, and Jackie Joyner-Kersee. Alice Marie Coachman Davis was born in Albany, Georgia on November 9, 1923, to Fred and Evelyn Coachman. She was the fifth of 10 children. Alice's family was poor, and even as a youngster, she had to work at picking cotton and other crops to help her family financially. Raised in the heart of the segregated South, young Alice wasn't allowed to train at athletic fields with whites. Not to mention the fact that at that time, running and jumping was considered unladylike. So, to avoid a whipping from her father,
I made sure he didn't see me doing any of that.
Years later, she said in a 2004 NPR interview,
I didn't have any girls for playmates because they were ladylike. I didn't have no competition to help me jump over the bar. I didn't have no competition to make me run fast, and I didn't have no competition to hit the baseball or softball. So, I was really a boy in the sight of the other boys I was playing with. And when I look back, maybe if I hadn't played with them, I wouldn't have been as good as I am. That was my competition right there.
The fact that female athletes were discouraged ultimately helped make her the athlete she became. Not having shoes, Alice ran barefoot on the dirt roads near her house.
You had to run up and down the red roads and the dirt roads. You went out there in the fields where there was a lot of grass and no track. No nothing.
She improvised her training throughout her childhood, practicing her high jump over a crossbar made of rags tied together. Alice eventually received encouragement from her fifth-grade teacher, Cora Bailey, at Monroe Street Elementary School, and from her aunt, Carrie Spry, who defended her niece's interest in sports in the face of parental reservations. In 1938, when Alice enrolled in Madison High School, she immediately joined the track team. The Madison boys' track coach, Harry E. Lash, recognized and nurtured her talent. Finally, her parents relented and allowed her to compete in the annual Tuskegee Institute relays in the 1930s. There, she broke first high school and then collegiate records by the time she was 16 years old. In the rural South, during the time of Jim Crow laws, Alice Coachman was not guaranteed an opportunity for education. But fortunately, she received a scholarship to the prestigious Tuskegee Preparatory School. During her college career at Tuskegee, She won national championships in the 50-meter dash, the 100-meter dash, the 400-meter relay, and the high jump. She also played on the Tuskegee women's basketball team, which won 3 championships. She captured the Amateur Athletic Union High Jump Championship 10 consecutive times, from 1939 to 1948, and the Union's 50-meter outdoor title from 1943 to 1947. She also won national championships in the 100-meter dash and the 4x100-meter relay. But she had to wait until 1948 to compete in the Olympics. The 1940 and 1944 games were canceled because of World War II, denying Alice Coachman a chance to attain her biggest dream.
This is African American History is American History.
Alice Coachman went on to receive a trade degree in dressmaking in 1946 from the Tuskegee Preparatory School, and then enrolled at Albany State University. Still longing to go to the Olympics, Alice worked tirelessly and finally qualified for the 1948 Olympics at the age of 24, with a 5 feet 4-inch jump, breaking the previous record of 5 feet 3 1/4 inches set in 1934. She was on her way to London. In a 1996 New York Times interview, Alice Coachman said of her career,
I made a difference among the blacks, being one of the leaders. If I had gone to the Olympic Games and failed, there wouldn't be anyone to follow in my footsteps. It encouraged the rest of the women to work harder and fight harder.
That August of 1948 saw a very rainy afternoon at Wembley Stadium in London. Alice was competing for gold in the high jump with Dorothy Tyler of Britain, the hometown favorite. They both cleared 5 feet 6 1/8 inches, but Alice won because she did it on her first try. Micheline Ostermeyer of France was third. Alice Coachman became the first woman of color in the world and the first African-American woman to win a gold medal in track and field in the history of the modern Olympics.
Oh, I saw it on the board. A. Coachman, USA, #1. I went on, stood up there, and they started playing the national anthem. It was wonderful to hear.
In addition, she was the only American woman to win a gold medal at the 1948 Games. Her combination Olympic gold medal and 10 consecutive U.S. championships have never been duplicated.
This is African American History is American History.
Returning victorious from the 1948 Olympic Games, Alice Coachman became the first African-American woman to benefit from endorsements. She was congratulated by President Harry S. Truman at the White House, and Count Basie gave a party for her. She was given a hero's welcome back home in Albany, Georgia, holding a parade in her honor. But thanks to Jim Crow, it was a segregated event. She was forced to use a side door of the auditorium where she was being honored. And to add insult to injury, the white mayor in 1948, J.W. Smith, refused to even shake her hand.
To come back home to your own country, your own state, and your own city, and you can't get a handshake from the mayor? It wasn't a good feeling.
Following the 1948 London Olympics, she retired from track and field.
I had accomplished what I wanted to do. It was time for me to start looking for a husband. That was a climax. I won the gold medal. I proved to my mother, my father, my coach, and everybody else that I had gone to the end of my rope.
After her retirement, Alice Coachman taught physical education, coached, and became involved in the Job Corps in Albany, Georgia. She also taught at South Carolina State College, Albany State College, and Tuskegee High School. Alice Coachman married N.F. Davis, whom she later divorced. A few years later, she married Frank Davis. No relation. They had 2 children, Richmond and Evelyn, who both followed their mother's footsteps into athletics. In 1975, Alice Coachman was inducted into the National Track and Field Hall of Fame. In 1994, the Alice Coachman Track and Field Foundation was created to aid young athletes in financial need. In 2004, she was inducted into the United States Olympic and Paralympic Hall of Fame. And the elementary school in Albany, Georgia, that she attended as a child is named after her. Alice Coachman died July 14th, 2014, in Albany, Georgia, at the age of 90. Unfortunately, she was only an Olympic champion once. Since the Games were canceled in 1940 and 1944 due to World War II, she was cheated of her turn to compete in her prime. Alice Coachman and many others believed she would have become a repeating champion if she had only had the chance. Sports reporter Eric Williams said of Alice Coachman, quote, "Had she competed in those canceled Olympics, we would probably be talking about her as the #1 female athlete of all time." End quote. Finally, let's clear something up. Now, most people think, and even some history books have it written down, that Wilma Rudolph was the first black woman to win a gold medal. That's not true. Wilma Rudolph was the first black woman to win 3 gold medals in a single Olympics. That would be the 1960 Rome Olympics. But Alice Coachman Davis holds the distinction of being the first black woman to win an Olympic gold medal.
I've always believed that I could do whatever I set my mind to do.
This has been African American History is American History. The episode you've been listening to, The Alice Coachman Story, was written and directed by Harlan Kearsley. The voice actor for this episode was Soraya Butler as Alice Coachman. I'm Harlan Kearsley, and on behalf of everyone here at African American History is American History, thank you for listening. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe. Once you do, you'll be notified as soon as new episodes are posted. Thanks again, and please stay safe. African American History is American History. Copyright H.C. Kearsley, 2022.